Hi, welcome back to my garden. I'm standing in a part of the garden we call the shadow and white garden. So when we moved in, this was all like lawn up against the hedge. And then we had to cut the hedge back to put the fence in for the dogs. And then when we did that, I kind of started working on what I wanted the garden here to be. So this is a northeast facing hedge, or like this side of the garden. So it gets really good morning light. Further out from the hedge, it gets like all day sun, and then further in, it's like a little bit shadier. So the main focus is white flowers and then interesting colors of foliage. So kind of the silvery blues, the more like lemony chartreuse, deep greens, the kind of burgundies, all things like that. And then just like different tones of white flowers throughout the season. So as far as reclaiming the lawn, I mostly did sheet mulching, and then there's some areas that I planted up kind of like berms. It's a fairly moist area, like the soil is kind of clayey. A lot of the weeds are buttercups, which kind of indicates that there's a fair amount of moisture in the soil. So, yeah, for some plants, I wanted them just slightly elevated. So if it floods a little in winter or something, they can still survive fine. So I think I'm going to grab the camera and then just like walk you through and show you what's looking good right now. So starting at this end, this is where I have the kind of, well, they used to be circular, like stepping stone grass, like pathway steps. Anyway, they need a little bit of tending because I feel like the grass wants to run away. But anyway, there used to be a tall tree here, but it was kind of rotten and it looked like it was about to split in half. So we took it down. However, this used to be a little bit shadier. And then I tried to plant an oak, but then I got that one bare rooted and it just like never leafed out, even though I was watering it and stuff. Anyway, so this area, eventually I want to be kind of shady. But for now, I ended up planting it with mostly sunny things. Even the hostas that are in here can handle full sun as long as they have enough moisture, at least our full sun. But I have a bunch of different cosmos, or I guess it's one kind of cosmos, but there's a bunch of them. So these are the cupcake white. And then I have the white swan marigolds. I have the Dusty Miller. These all I grew from seed this year. The Dusty Miller has like the cutest leaves. Most of the annuals that I grew from seed, I planted out in May time when it was like a little bit warmer, and then it got cool for like all of June. But I think the cosmos liked it. They seem to have gotten like quite a bit bigger before they started blooming. I also planted some petunias. These I just got as like little plugs. And it's funny, like this one has done amazing, whereas like this one is still about the same size as when I got it. So it must just have to do with like how it was planted, because this whole bed I don't really water. Our rule is like annuals, I wait until they've filled out a gallon-sized pot, just so that they have a good root system, and then I'll water them really well when I plant them, and then I don't water them again. And then anything like shrubs, like this incredible hydrangea I planted last year. So this one I watered all of last year, about once a week. And then this summer I'm not watering it at all. If we have like a drought, I might give it some water, just like let it soak in on a drip for like a half hour or something. But yeah, this one looks amazing. And up until like a month ago, these alliums were still blooming. They're the nigrum variety. And I don't know if it's like that it's a little bit shadier here or that I planted them late in the season or what. But yeah, they bloomed so late for us. Like they were blooming all of June. They still looked good at the beginning of July. And now they've gone to seed. More of those petunias. And then back here, I'm working on like a little bit of like a hedge of white lupins that have seen better days, but I'll post a picture from, I can't remember, like May or June. I also have some of the lime queen zinnias that I grew from seed. Those ones are still looking a little bit unhappy. I feel like I waited, or I planted them too early, but I had no idea that our June would be as cool as it was. So they're blooming, and I have a feeling that they'll still do more things. And then these are the Bud Light lilies. And they're like mostly white with that kind of like yellow in the middle. They have a really nice scent if you like lilies. They're pretty strong, but like at night it's amazing. So these ones I planted in early spring and they're like a couple feet tall. And then over here, I'll pan slowly, but I have the ones that I planted last year, and they're like at least 4 feet tall with so many flowers on each head. So I'm excited for all the other ones I planted. I think I put in maybe another 15 or so this year. So next year, if they're all this tall, that'll be amazing. They seem really popular with the wasps. So they must be like very nectar rich or something. And then here I also have these grasses, and I don't actually know the name. I had bought like one clump and I divided it in three as soon as I bought it. And then last year, I think I did a video, I divided it again. So I have 5 of these clumps in this garden here, and then I also have them somewhere else. And then back here, this is a hydrangea. So similar to the Incrediball, it's an arborescens type hydrangea, but this one and that one are from cuttings. So I'm really excited for that. They were in the ground last year, and this year I think they may actually bloom for me too, but maybe a little bit later. This is our native strawberry patch. So I haven't actually eaten any of these. I think they have pretty small fruit, but they seem to be taking over this whole area, which I love. There's like a little dead like cryptomeria or something, but I kind of like how the color looks, so that one's gonna stay for now. I've been trying to add some things for like winter structure, things that will look nice in winter too. So I have some of these junipers that are like bright kind of silver blue, and then they're flanked by the all gold variety. So I thought as those get bigger and kind of merge, they'll look pretty cool too. There's also a bunch of like ladies mantle in here, the snowdrift. I think it's called snowdrift. It's like a salvia snow something anyway. But yeah, and then I also have this Rosa Sharon. We got it from Costco last year, but it overwintered okay, and I see it has a few buds, so I think it's like getting ready to bloom pretty soon. This one also has white blooms. In the back, I have this like little Japanese maple. And then there's an Amelanchier alnifolia, our native service berry. There's a bunch of gladiolus. So some of these are from last year. Or are they all from last year? I think they may all be from last year, but they overwinter pretty well in our area. I can't wait. Like this whole row of them, there's a bunch here, and then there's some over there beyond the lilies too. So they should take over from the lilies pretty well. Always kind of a fight with the horsetails, just like pulling them out a lot. These were some of the, I want to say like Mount Everest alliums. They were huge, and they still look pretty cool, so they get to stay for now. An umbrella pine. And then back here, this is our native elderberry. And I can't remember if it's the red one or the blue one, but I actually cut the flowers off. I like pruned it after it bloomed so that it would bloom again for me next year. There's kind of like a timing window where you can do that. And this area down here is kind of the wettest. So I reclaimed or claimed this from the lawn this year. So I have some like Veronicastrum. The first one to bloom is like right here. This is like Culver's root. So it's still pretty small. I think these ones get like 6 feet tall though when they're like fully grown. A bunch of dogwood. These are the ones I propagated this year. So that's all like yellow stick version of our native dogwood. There's a bunch of hostas. Back here, this is like a newish hydrangea, or new for me. And this one is a paniculata type hydrangea, so like a limelight. This one's pufferfish, so I guess the flowers stay pretty white all season, which is pretty cool. And then this rose we added this year, and I've heard you're not supposed to plant roses in any month without an R. So basically, don't plant them June, July, and August. But I did plant this one in June, so I've just made sure it's like well watered. It was blooming when I got it. It's a white flag, I think. It has these big, or white sail. Anyway, it has these like big white flowers. So yeah, I've just made sure that it stays like well watered. And then back here, there's another elderberry, a non-native. I think this one was called Lemony Lace. But the hedge here, like all afternoon, looks super dark. So I thought having just that bright chartreuse in front would be cool. Some of the blooms on the dogwood. And I think there's some like berries forming too. So I really tried to give give the edge like a nice kind of natural-ish curve. But I love the different layers, the different textures and colors. And it's nice kind of having the white as like the main anchor for the whole bed. And then everything else is kind of just there to like enhance it. This rose is definitely not white, but it was here before and it just blooms all season. It's a little bit scraggling out of control right now. Back here is where I was working on the stumpery last year, but because I lost a lot of the shade, I love how it looks now. It's a little more like a driftwood stumpery, but once I get some shade back, I'll be able to work on it a little bit more. Well, thanks for coming along on the tour of our Shadow and White garden. I hope you enjoyed it. And it's the kind of garden that like it has so many different seasons. Like early on it has like the tulips, then the lupins, then kind of it just like evolves. Right now it's like the lilies, the cosmos will continue all season. The hydrangeas are just taking off. So yeah, so much to see. So yeah, thanks for coming along for the tour and I'll catch you next time.